Lisa stared at her husband's parked squad car. She forced herself forward and looked in through the blood-smeared window. The back seat of the squad car was a mess. The seats were soaked in blood, and Wayne's black combat knife laid on the torn seat. She backed away, confused and horrified. Lisa thought quickly, fueled by a rush of adrenaline. The only thing she could think was, what happened? But she could already answer that. Her husband, Wayne, was the psycho from the news that the cops could never seem to catch. She turned to run and walked right into her husband, Wayne. Wayne looked down on her and smiled. "What the hell happened here?" screamed Lisa nervously. "Relax, you're not being rational," Wayne replied coolly. "I picked up a suspect and put him in the back. But before getting in, he grabbed my knife and tried to stab me. We fought for a minute, then he turned the knife on himself. I brought him to the station and they took him to the hospital," Wayne explained. Lisa wanted to believe him, but he always acted so suspiciously. She had been wondering about him since their marriage 2 weeks ago. She pushed the thought out of her mind and accepted the story. She wouldn't doubt her husband again until 3 nights later, when a tragedy occurred. "Ma'am, there is already an officer on the scene." "There is no officer on the scene!" shouted Lisa impatiently. She could hear pounding on the door and watch Maxwell nervously pacing around the room. "Ma'am, there's an officer, Wayne McElroy, on the premises. Remain calm." "I know that! He's my husband, alright? But there's a criminal in my home!" shouted Lisa. "Ma'am, there's no reason to be concerned." "What? Is this a joke? I'm gonna be killed!" "This is the problem with the government. Ma'am, your protest of the government is what got you in this situation." Lisa froze, stunned. "You have a nice day, ma'am." The phone line went dead. Lisa looked up slowly to see the killer standing in the doorway. Lisa glanced down at Max, her husband's dog. Max was a member of the K-9 unit of LAPD and had been trained in home defense. Max stood up and stared intently at the intruder. Lisa felt relieved that he was there. Max stood up and walked over to the killer. He barked and opened his mouth as he neared the criminal. Lisa felt relieved and grinned angrily. But as Max neared the intruder, instead of biting and attacking him, Max licked the killer's gloved hand and stood by him. Lisa stepped back in horror. "I must be crazy," she thought. The killer smiled and said, "You still haven't figured it out." His voice was disturbingly familiar, a voice Lisa had heard 1,000 times before. The man removed his mask, and Lisa stepped back in shock and horror. It was Wayne. "Don't be upset, it's nothing personal. I defended you, I tried to get you out of it, but they were adamant," Wayne said as he stepped forward, wielding a black combat knife. Lisa backed up against the wall behind her. She couldn't back up anymore and she couldn't make a run for it, as Wayne was blocking the door. She looked around, thinking quickly. Nothing. "Lisa, sometimes when people get out of hand, stir up too much trouble. They need to be taken care of. Our government needs protection from the people that would harm it, or rally people against it. That's what I do. Lisa, you really shouldn't have been such an activist. But it's too late now. You get it now, right? I get a cop's car, a cop's uniform, and all the trust that people place in the police. Which, by the way, makes my job much easier. Wayne is delusional. He must have just snapped, and now he thinks his purpose is to protect by killing. Not protecting," Lisa thought. "Think about it this way. You'd rather it be me than someone else, right?" said Wayne comfortingly. Wayne stepped forward and held his knife out somberly. Lisa closed her eyes and prepared for the end, but none came. She opened her eyes after a minute of silence and found herself in a small, white, padded room. She tried to stand up, but found her hands constrained. She was in a white straitjacket. "Why am I here?" she said aloud to the empty room. It was him, Wayne and the government. They put me here to keep me silent. Yes, it makes sense. Killing me would be too suspicious, but locking me away quietly would keep me silent and under the radar. Lisa pushed her back against the wall and lifted herself to her unsteady feet. Just as she stood, the door to her room opened and a man stepped in. "Good morning, Lisa. I'm Dr. Sanders. I've been assigned to your case. I'm here to help you understand the nature of your disorder. Listen, I'm not crazy, but before we talk at all, I need to know what happened to Wayne. Was he arrested? Is he crazy? What happened?" The doctor sighed. "Lisa, I don't know who Wayne is." "Wayne, my husband, the police officer," Lisa replied, annoyed. "Lisa, you've never been married. There's never been a Wayne. Your parents admitted you here a week ago." The doctor smiled sympathetically and stood up. "I'll let you digest this," he said as he left the room and closed the door behind him. Lisa never knew if Wayne was really a killer, if Wayne did things he did. or if Wayne existed at all. But she never left that psychiatric hospital.